Good morning, everybody. How are you? This is Vincent with Listings to Leads, and we're going to get started in a minute. Can you tell me if you can hear me and see my screen? There's a problem with the Facebook connection this morning, so I'm not sure if we lost something there. If you could put it in the comments panel. I see we have some folks from Florida and Mississippi today. Good morning. But can you hear me? And can you see my screen? Just put it in. Excuse me. Oh, awesome. Thanks, Robin. Okay, so let's give it just a minute. I see a bunch of people. Thank you, Jennifer. Texas. Good morning. All right, so before we get started, just like to ask, put in the comments panel, are you new to us? Is this your first time being on the Top Tools for More Listings call? And Mary is new. David from San Diego, right on, Beetle City. Bambi's new. Okay. Yeah. Let me know, people, if you're new. Robin's new. Okay. So I do this call every 2 weeks. Okay. Yeah. This is good. So I'm Vincent Meza. This is Listings to Leads. And this is our Top Tools for More Listings class. And we have a lot of ways of capturing listings. And a couple of the biggest ones are really, they're great. They're working in parts of the country that are awesome. And it's not always equal, like certain things going on in different parts of the country. But I want to get back to some basics today. So I am going to talk about the highlights, what everybody should be looking at right now, what's really killing it right now. And then I want to talk about a few of the basics that we haven't spoken about much lately. So first of all, if you're new to us, check out these videos on our homepage. They're really going to tell you the story of what you need to be thinking about right now. Right here on top is expired marketing. All three of these agents are killing it with expired marketing. And there are many other agents that are as well. And we are doing 4 classes every week on expired marketing. So if you need more listings, if expired listings are happening in your market, then you definitely need to understand how to unpack this. Okay. How to use our tools to get those listings to turn into your listing. Now we'll talk a little bit more about these videos later. But if we scroll down, you're going to see we talk about open house ads and we talk about just sold ads. Just sold ads are actually a very inexpensive and easy way to get seller leads. I'll show you how to do this, right? They're not as high quality of leads as reaching out to an expired, but you're going to get name, email, and phone number. This is awesome. Now, this lady here is talking about open house ads, and you're using our Facebook ad software to market an open house. And you would think that actually that's great to get buyers, but not listings. But I want you to understand that open house marketing for 2025 was our number one way of getting listings. Okay. And not a lot of people understand that. Let me cut to the chase. I'm going to share it is in a moment. This that I'm holding in my hand is the reason. Oh no, it's one of the reasons. And I'll show you the other reason in just a minute. Is the thing about open houses is it's involving the neighborhood and it's involving homeowners from your neighborhood. So if you're trying to get more listings in the neighborhoods where you have more listings, you absolutely need to start holding open houses. Okay. And then there's a listing presentation down here. And that's really I think, kind of the key piece of why our clients are closing so many listings right now. So we'll look at that together as well. And then our listing marketing, our company is called Listings to Leads. And it was originally, we started this 17 years ago, and it was because we knew that if we could, create the right tools for your listings, you could get buyers, but you could get more listings. And that was really the whole genesis, really. If you knew us back then, we had one tool to market your listings on Craigslist. And we knew how to capture leads better than any other company. And that's why we're still standing here 17 years later, because we know how to do that. And we've applied that to all kinds of tools, right, to market. Now, the point of this call, though, is how do we get more listings, right? And so I'm on my listings page right here. And if you don't know this, when you sign up new, you put your headshot in there, you put your logo, you give us your color scheme, and we create a listing presentation on this tab, on this page here, listings. And if you click view, you're going to see it. And this thing is being used by our clients all over the country in various ways. Okay. We make it available in this is called a Flipbook version, right? So it's an online magazine. And this is really what we do automatically whenever you get a listing in here, right? We give you all the tools, we automate this stuff. And frankly, it's very powerful. It's one of the most powerful advertising platforms in the country. Now we make it available in this format for you to explain to a homeowner, hey, when you list with me, this is how I'm going to sell your home. And it's very complete, very thorough. You don't have to read every word of this, but you do need to understand the gist of it, right? And so when we talk about how to close listings, how to get more listings, really the key is, how do I get in front of the right people, right? These three, this sold ad can also get you to the right people, right? And so when you got the right tool like this, you got to figure out, how do I get a hold of homeowners that are thinking of selling? Right. Now I'm going to hit the listing. I'm back here on the listings page, the page on our system, and here it's a listings map. Notice that I have a listing here that says it's canceled. And I have a listing here that says expired, and one here that has FSBO, and one here that just says listing presentation. They all share the same sort of deal, right? Here I have an expired listing. You're able to create listing presentations for an actual homeowner with their home built into our listing presentation, right? The first one I was showing you was a generic one that's waiting in every one of your accounts, right? And you can use that generic one and you can blast it out in your email to your CRM, and you can start conversation very easily with that. But this one I have, and you'll notice that the homeowner's name is right here and their address is here. And if I click Flipbook here, this looks different from my generic one, right? So give it a second. I'm just going to show you the tools, then we'll go talk about how do you get in front of these people, right? So notice this is a complete marketing plan to get your expired home sold, right? Name of the homeowner, that's their address. Now, when I go through this, the homeowner is looking at her home on every page of this. And this is very compelling to somebody who's thinking of selling their home. You scan that while we're sitting here at the kitchen table, and boom, their home pops up on their smartphone. Hello, Robert. So that's really important to know, that you can actually create these for a particular home. So how do you do that? Right. And so if you're looking at, I don't know, Zillow, or you're looking at your MLS and you see some FSBOs, you might want to reach out to those. Right. And, or if you see expireds happening, right, you might want to you might have a special expired listing, or maybe you're talking to a homeowner who you're really trying to impress, right? I have 4 different ones, and I'm going to show you how to create these. You go to your listings page, you click on add listing, you click on manual, you're going to manually add this listing. And whenever you come to manual, we design it really to help you market a listing. And so this page is really designed for you if your listing isn't automatically flowed in, right? But usually your listings automatically flow in. But here I could create one for a listing presentation, or for a canceled, or a FSBO, or expired. And they're all going to have the same functionality, which is give us the homeowner's name, put the address, and save and add one photo. That's all you got to do to create this for one homeowner, right? That's how it works. All right. So now we know how to create that. Let's jump over to YouTube, and I'll kind of go over here real quick. Let's go up here to the marketing calendar. So if some of you are new and some of you are not new, I'm hearing that right here. You should absolutely know about this page. On the very top left, it says marketing calendar. And up here, it says resources. And you see our YouTube channel, our Facebook mastermind group, our Instagram channel, and where you sign up for live classes like this one right here. Okay. Now, those classes are on this page. If you're not a client of ours, you're still welcome to join us. We're at leadgenwebinars.com. That's where this page lives, leadgenwebinars.com. But I'm going to send it to you right now. You should all have this coming into your little chat feed here. And you'll see that Scott's doing it on expired. It's actually, we hold 4 workshops every week solely on expireds. Okay. And so you should definitely, if expireds are happening in your market, you should get on those calls to see how to do it, right? Yeah. Questions, Scott's there to help you answer those, right? On Tuesday, what's this? Open houses. And I mentioned to you, open houses are a big deal. You definitely want to get on this class. You can even borrow open houses and get listings from that. It's a very important way of getting listings. On Wednesday, 7 a.m. Pacific, we got another expired class. Wednesday evening, another expired class. And then what's this? This looks like a deeper call on expired. So this week is all about expired. You should pay attention to these classes because I'm pretty sure by the end of the week, you are going to totally know how to put expireds into your business. Okay. And then, yeah, so that's there, right? We do have an expired mastermind group. It's actually focused on all kind of seller leads, right? How to get seller leads. But also we have this group, and I think is actually working out better. This is our core mastermind group, and everybody knows about this. So this, where Scott and I talk about what's going on. It's also where our clients are talking about what's going on. To just opened up her office with us. So that's very cool. I know Scott's actually there right now doing a training. We just rolled out their office. By the way, if you need a team account or an office account, brokerage account, reach out to me, Vince at listingstoleads.com. And Lisa, Scott's actually just this morning there doing an onboard training. So we just launched that about a week ago. But there's other questions here. There's things coming from Scott. There's questions from the agents asking, what do I do? How do I do this? So the mastermind group's very useful, and that you can get to inside on the marketing calendar right up here. But really what I want to focus on is this page here, which is our YouTube channel. Okay. So I'm on our YouTube channel and I'm on the videos page. And I'm going to go back about 2 or 3, because you remember those 3 videos I showed you on the homepage of our website? They're showing 3 different agents hitting expireds. And there's a lot of content on here. If you want to learn our system, this is honestly the place, unless you like our live classes, this is the place to kind of find out about it. You can learn a lot here. And I want to point out, this guy here, Scott Murray, is on our homepage. So let's go over here and talk about it. Because we can see it in one shot right here. Scott in the bottom right here has been in the industry for 20 years, and he likes to door knock. Okay. And when he door knocks, he's got a really great way of doing it. And he added 2.7 million in his pipeline in 3 days of door knock. So there's obviously a right way and a wrong way to do it. You want to watch that call. This young lady here, she calls listings. And back then she was doing it day one. Like she would see an expired, hit her MLS, and she would call them that day. And unfortunately, those homeowners are being called by dozens, if not hundreds of agents. Nobody would ever answer her phone. They would never answer her calls. They'd never call her back because, those homeowners are getting called all over. Then she texted the ones after the second call and said, would you like to see my listing presentation? Still no response. Then she creates a custom listing presentation with that homeowner's name on it and their home to it, just like this one. And he texts it to him. Okay. So she calls him twice, texts him once, would you like to see it? Then text again, hey, if you want to have a look, just click this link. So she's texting this to them. And as you can see, she has 4 listings in 6 weeks. Okay. So I'll say here, John, he's also on the YouTube channel. And we recorded the call. I'm going to show it to you in November. And he has a really great voicemail. He waits 3 months And then he calls these homeowners. He makes sure that they've not relisted. He calls them. He leaves a really, subtle voicemail. Would just like to meet you, shake your hand. And people call him back because if in 3 months they haven't relisted, they still want to. They just, haven't been able to do it. So how do we help them? Right. I want to point out that I'm going to show you the video on YouTube where we interviewed him in November. But this video right here that you see on our homepage, he sent this to us on January 14th. And he's saying, hey, I got 2.2 million in listings in just this first 2 weeks of January. And I'm going to point out over here on YouTube in November, we have a call with him. And he says, my goal is to get 10 of these, if you can see me holding this in my hand, 10 of these into my market every week. That was in November. Now, Thanksgiving came and Christmas came, so obviously he wasn't working every week, but he definitely wanted to get 10 of these into his market every week. This is our listing presentation. I showed you how to create a Flipbook version, but you can actually order these. I'm going to send you the link on how you do that. Now, Scott here is the guy who door knocks. 6-minute video tells you how he door knocks. And if you're comfortable door knocking in a market where you can do that, I would watch that. Okay. But his goal also was to door knock and have this in his hand and give it to them. He had a great approach. You want to hear how that approach is, right? I want to also bring to this video here. It's about 4 minutes long. Was at the bottom of our homepage. And she'll tell you she's a brand new rookie agent. And by the time she goes through the listing presentation with the homeowner who she met just walking in her neighborhood, they asked her, where do I sign? Before she could even ask, they asked her, where do I sign? The listing presentation is very powerful. You should really be thinking about how to get it into the market. Now here is JJ. Right here. Remember the one on our homepage? And she tells you how she does it. And, JJ is just out of high school for 3 years, right? And a realtor for, I think, 18 months when we recorded this, not even 18 months. So she really doesn't know the right way. I can tell you, I'm sure she's learning super fast because that was recorded in November. And in 6 weeks, she got 4 listings. And she'll tell you in that call that she's shooting for 20 by April. And we're going to definitely reach out to her in April and see how she did. She's just crushing it. She's calling him twice, texting him once, and then creating a custom listing presentation and sending it to him. And here is John, who's on our homepage. And while I'm not pointing these out to you because they're cool, I'm pointing these out to you because you need to watch these and understand how they are unpacking and approaching expired. Because Scott's doing 4 classes a week. You may not do exactly what Scott's saying. Right? You might have your own approach, but you can learn from 3 people who are really doing it well and say, you know what, I like that. I want to do it slightly differently. Don't reinvent the wheel here. Okay. Here's the link to this page. And you should definitely watch all of those videos if you want expireds in your business. Okay. Don't forget, Scott's doing 4 classes every week. And next week, or actually this week, it will be 5 classes on expired this week. So definitely get expireds in your world, right? So if you go back further, and I'm not going to ask you to, but if you do go back further and you look at, you're going to see open house marketing. We were having teams and agents talk about open house marketing all year long because we launched the expired stuff right in about October, November, right? So it took a few weeks for agents to see it and start using it. And, that's kind of it. So, but open houses for 2025 were the leading way of getting listings. And why would that, you think of open house, that's to get the home sold, right? And that is totally true. You want to sell the home. But, we're here to help our clients. And we want to make sure we help you every way we can. And that's getting listings and getting buyers. So this home here has an open house. And I want to tell you, Scott does open house marketing every 2 weeks. You can go to our YouTube channel where we just were and go watch multiple videos on open house marketing. I'm going to just show you a couple things so we can understand how this could actually work for you, right? And how it could. Now, running a Facebook ad, it's really designed to get buyers, but you'd be surprised. Many buyers actually own a home. They're looking at what's going on in the market. They might be thinking of selling, right? So when you run an ad, you're telling them essentially that you're selling a home, right? And if they're thinking of selling, they might actually want to go there. Now, the real reason that it's the number one way of getting listings in 2025 is this nearby homeowner letter. And this is a piece of paper. Okay. So it's not algorithms. It's not AI. It's not cloud computing. It is a piece of paper. You print this 50 or 100 times and you door knock it into the neighborhood to say, hey, I've got an open house happening this weekend. And this piece of paper says that's going to affect your home value. Go here to get your free home value. We've literally had agents who, are borrowing listings, holding a listing for another agent. They door knock this and they get their own listing even before the open house starts, right? So this piece of paper is why open house marketing is so valuable for you to get more listings. And if you go look on our YouTube channel, you'll see teams holding 2 to 4 open houses every week, right? Because this piece of paper, well, there's actually a bigger, this is part of it. This is part of it. I'll show you a couple other things. So you get people in your open house. Maybe you get some homeowners because you invited 100 homeowners. We got a really, really cool, remember I said our listing presentation is awesome. And we just keep pushing this down. I'm trying to get, what I'm about to show you is, what's this? That is, no. We keep adding content. We're always putting listings. So it's going to take a second for me to find it. Sorry, but it's not something I can, it's right here. And it says 100+ marketing plan on it. And this is what you do. So they're not all going to come to your open house. You do at the open house to, engage those homeowners. We actually create this video. It's got some really cool music too. So I was holding up my listing presentation, expired, just how do we presentation in a 5-minute commercial. And if anybody has a smart TV, like in the open house you're holding, just grab the remote and point the YouTube app to this. So that now that you've got homeowners walking through your open house, you've got a video to help, start a conversation about how you sell homes. I do want to point out, this is not branded to you and it's not branded to us. It's very difficult to make this work like that. But it's still great. So you've got that in hand. And then you guides, because you may not know this, there are actually 80 PDF guides in each of your accounts, right? 40 are for buyers and 40 are for sellers. And they're all about 5 or 6 pages long. So you should pick 6 of your favorite ones, right? And go to like Office Depot. I went over to Kinko's, and you print it up and you put them in a little handy, tabletop stand, so that as people are walking through, they see you and your company logo in every room. You get 6 of these, put one in the master bedroom, put a different one in the living room, put a different one in the laundry room. So as people are walking through their home, they can see the kind of value you bring, and they can see your name and the company you work for. That's why open houses are so valuable. There's more. Obviously, there's a lot more to do that. And that's why you ought to jump on Scott's call. Okay. So I'm going to before I jump into the next way of getting listings, I want to kind of say time out and pause, and let's think about what we're going to go into now. Because what I just described to you is how you market and meet people, right? You're shaking their hand. You're inviting homeowners into your open house. You are meeting those homeowners. You're taking an expired listing. You're texting something. You're leaving a voicemail. You are door knocking on it. You are meeting people. You're really shortening conversion time. Okay. And that's what I want to get, because what we're going to get into now is what are some of the great ways of getting seller leads, which means you're getting a lead and you got to convert the lead to a handshake, right? First, it's going to be a phone call, then a handshake, and then probably ideally a signature, right? Does that make sense? And let me tell you, I mentioned it in the beginning of the call. The fastest, cheapest way of getting seller leads is to run an ad on Facebook for a sold property. So let's do it. I click on the home that's sold. I click on Facebook and Instagram, and we're connecting to Facebook's ad software right here, right? The home, whatever city it's in, it's going to say it's going to go in a 15-mile radius, $50. No problem. Create ad. That's very easy, right? I clicked on that button and clicked on this button. That is exactly what this gentleman here did, Brian Mathewson. He didn't edit his ad, and he's telling you right here in this call, he gets a $4 lead that turns into a $400,000 listing and a $450,000 purchase. Okay. Brian owns an LPT office. He runs 5 to 10 ads every week, right? Because these leads are coming with name, email, and phone number. Some of them are sold and some of them are for sale, right? So there's more you can do with these, but there's a Facebook ads class. Scott does that. You should definitely watch that. But very simply, that's what Brian Mathewson did right there. But I got to tell you what happens, right? So what happens is, you don't have to do this when you're running it out, but I'm just going to point it out. The consumer sees this. They see their full name and email and phone number automatically pulled into this form. And it says, would you like that answer? And this blue button says, yes, submit my info. Okay. So you are getting name, phone number, and email pulled from the Facebook profile of the person who clicked the ad. And they're sending it to you. Okay. And you would think, because we're going to send that lead to you immediately, you think I'm going to call them right now. Right. And they're going to, you know what they're going to say? I don't know what you're talking about. And that's because they don't know who you are. And unfortunately, there are way too many scams in this world right now, and nobody wants to talk to people that they don't know. So big reason why over here we have AI text follow-up, because it converts 14% of our Facebook leads or leads and phone numbers to a phone call. And if you're not using that, text your leads 4 or 5 times, asking them very simple questions before you make a call. Because if they don't know who you are, they're going to do everything they can to get you off that phone as quickly as possible. So again, fastest, cheapest way of getting seller leads is running an ad on Facebook on a sold property. Okay. I'm going to show you a couple of other ways. I mentioned that we have PDF guides, and I mentioned that 40 of them are for homeowners. Right. If you click right here on seller PDF guides, you're going to see that you've got a lot of tools here that you can go out and market with, right? So I clicked on it. Let's give it a second for it to do its thing. Tired landlord guide. I read that Airbnb is kind of peaking. I don't know. Maybe you might want to try that. Downsizing. 12 mistakes of what we actually, a lot of our clients like this one. So let's click on marketing tools. And it's very easy. You can click right there and run an ad on Facebook. Get seller leads from Facebook, and they can download that report right there, right? You could run the ad on Google. Same thing. Couple clicks, you run an ad on Google. Leads cost more, but they're higher intent leads. Okay. Now we do give you short form video script if you want to make videos for YouTube and TikTok and Instagram. We even give you an e-flyer for your database. So if you've got a lot of seller leads in your CRM, you should be emailing these out like once a week, right? You copy the code here. This is HTML code, and you just take this and you drop it. They can download it for free, right? They just got to give you their name and email. There are print flyers, and we talked about this earlier regarding the open house, and there are postcards and door hangers. I don't know if I would really recommend that. We do create these things. Okay, so there's PDF guides that you can go out to market with, and then there are also landing pages. And landing pages can be effective because, well, I'll show you why here in just a second. You actually get a free home value landing page immediately. It's sitting right here. And I'm gonna show you something that I often see agents, clients come into the mastermind group and say, "Hey, I ran an ad and I didn't really get much from it." Right. And this is what they're doing. So let's look. Because you've probably seen something like this in the past. Right. That's a landing page for instant home value. You click on it, you're like, "Oh, I like that," because that's been around for, companies have had that for like 10 years. Right? So if you've been in the industry, you kind of recognize this thing. And so the first thing we tee up is running out on Facebook. Makes sense, right? Makes sense. These leads cost somewhere from 12 to $15. Now notice it says traffic, right? What does that mean? What does that mean? That means when you create the ad and they click on it, it clicks and it drives them to this page. Give me a sec. Right here, this page. Okay. And now you're asking the people, can I, give me your address and then give me your email address. Okay. And there's a big question there, right? Because let me show you how this works. You type in your address and then we go, great, get the value estimate. And then it's going to ask if it's just the default, it's just going to point you and say, where is your email? We've got your value. We've got your home value. Where is your email? And a lot of people will leave. They're not going to give you that. Why? Because who are you? Right? What kind of scam is this? I don't want spam, right? I just wanted that answer right there. And now that you're asking me for my email, forget it. I'm out of here. And that disappoints agents, right? And I don't want you to be disappointed. So I want you to understand what is going on. And the solution is really easy. Instead of driving traffic to the page, change it to lead ads. It looks almost exactly the same. But now when people click on this ad, their name, email, and phone number pops up. And they don't have to type anything in. Okay. And that's really important. Right. Now, it doesn't say the location. So I'm going to say Walnut Creek, because that's kind of an area by me. And I could go bang, create ad. Okay. And that would shoot all over Walnut Creek. There is a problem still. This doesn't say anything about Walnut Creek. Right. So how do I know this is even relevant to me, or if this is just some big national spam campaign? Right. So let's get into that. And that gets into kind of the question about farming, which is really I wanted to talk to everybody about it, because I don't go too deep into that because we've been so excited about expireds and open houses. But farming, as I talk to new clients, I tell them this. There are 4 things that you need to understand about our company right now that you need to be putting in your business. And that is expired marketing, open house marketing, listing presentations, and Facebook, right? Like that's it. Now, the order of things is very important too, because if you go out and you understand expireds and you start getting listings, well, what do you do next? You hold open houses and you get more listings and buyers, right? You're using the listing presentation to close it, and you're using the ads to get all kinds. These 4 things, literally, if you're a client of ours, you need to be incorporating those in your business every week. Does that make sense? So we're going to go a little bit deeper, but I see a couple questions. What's best value for home value ads? Well, I don't know. I don't know, Dan. I don't even think I would recommend a video, to be honest. Let's talk about that for a moment, right? How does the postcard connection work? Well, wherever you see a postcard, let's go over to the PDF guide real quick. Wherever you see a postcard, there's always going to be a QR code. And that's kind of key. So if there's anything in print, it could be a print flyer about your open house. It could be a print flyer about your sold home. It could be a print flyer about any of your landing pages, or a print flyer or postcard about any of your PDF guides, right? Whatever is in print, we've auto embedded a QR code. Okay. So if you're printing things like a postcard or a door hanger or just a flyer, there's going to be a QR code. And when you take a picture with that QR code, it's going to take you to a landing page that says, hey, if you want to download this, give us your contact information, right? And that's kind of the gist of it, right? If you're using print, I mean, the thing about print, and if you look at what realtors do, if they're mailing things in print, they usually are putting their phone number and their headshot there, right? Call me. You need help, call me. Unfortunately, people don't want to be talking to realtors all day long. It's not their thing. But you know that they are doing research for months and months and even years before they make a decision whether it's to buy or sell. So for us, that's kind of one of the main, concepts here is we know they want information. How can we get information to them without them having to literally talk to you? I know at some point you want them to talk to you, right? But to gather the information so that you can market it, well, this QR code is going to take them to a landing page where they can download that report if they give you their contact information. So that's how this all works. So that's true for any QR code, whether it's an open house or whatever, that's where it's going. So let's talk about the other question that you asked, Dan, which is video. And, you can actually customize these things. And I know I like video. I know that the world likes video. We all know that. I mean, it's always been about video. But when it comes to capturing leads, there are some things you need to be aware of. That one, you could click this edit pencil on any of our landing pages, and you could change the video. You could change the background, which in this case is a static plain image, and you could upload a video, right? That video, I'm going to click on background while the page opens up. Looks like things are a little bit slow here. You can upload a video right here, but when you run an ad, nobody will see that. They won't see that video. They'll see the photograph that's in the back right here. It's kind of like weird about shared image. We got to wait a second. So now you can see the photograph, right? If you upload a video and in the background, which you can do on this tab right here, it will only be seen if you drive traffic to it. Now, if you're using a print postcard or if you're using a postcard to drive traffic to this, they will see the video. But you are really hoping that they're going to give you their contact information. And not everybody wants to do that. That's why the Facebook ads and lead ads are so important, because you get name, email, and phone number each time. Okay. But if you put a video on the back of this page and you go, drive people to it with print, that's what the QR code would do. It would take their smartphone to this page, and on this page, they got to fill out a form. Okay. That's what that's about. Now, I have a link page for, where is it? San Antonio. Okay. San Antonio. Instant home value for San Antonio, right? Now, this has a background picture on it. And if I run an ad on Facebook, but I'll tell you, I don't want to be driving traffic ads to my landing page. I want to get the Facebook lead capture, because I want name, email, and phone number every time. Okay. And I'm going to explain something. We're going to go a little bit deep here. And we're trying to get seller leads. Okay. And that's what if you use a traffic ad and I've got a nice picture, so it's actually showing the photograph there, right? If you had a video, it wouldn't show the video there. It just won't. You could upload the video here, and that's worth testing, but we don't really manage that. You just click the button, you upload a video, it'll remove this and put a video. And then the long answer to your question, Dan, is I don't know what video is best. Because frankly, I never talk about putting videos on here, because that's just too hard for the average realtor to do it. We want to make it very quick, right? But what I do want to make sure is that I don't think running a traffic ad to any landing page makes sense when you're using our Facebook ad software, because if I change it to lead ads, it's going to look exactly the same, but I'm going to get name, email, and phone number every time. And that's what I think you need if you want to convert. Now, this page is in San Antonio, so I'm going to make it go right here, right? San Antonio, Texas. Now, San Antonio is a big place. This could be awesome. This could be really work out well, right? Because San Antonio is like a circular city. It just like, here's the center, it goes out and out, and this is a 15-mile radius. Everybody recognizes this as Riverwalk. Click it, bing, you're going to get name, email, and phone number. But let's go through this one more time because I showed this to you earlier, and this becomes very important now. Now, when you click create new form, there's actually a couple cool things about this. One is the form questions. You always want name, email, and phone number, but there are other questions that you can add or subtract. So you should read these and decide, what do I want to use? Don't put a lot, put one or two other questions max, because this is going to be here. But you're going to get their name, email, and phone number. Then we're going to show them this because we have to show them this. And this is like, what do you call it? Privacy TCPA language. Even if they're on the do not call list, if they click this ad and submit this info, you can call them. Now, here is where it gets tricky. It says, great. Now click the button below and add your address. Email and phone number, but you don't have their address. Okay. So what do you do then? You might think I called them. Hopefully, you should not be calling them. What you should do is text them and say, hey, I saw that you wanted your home value, but we didn't get your address. Can you text that and I'll get it for you right now. And then you drop their address in here and their email, and boom, it's going to email them their home value. You're going to be copying and looking at. And you should text them again and say, did you get that? We just sent you your home value. I see, low, medium, and high. Does that number seem correct? Right? Or start your conversation, right? Also, now that you have their address, name, email, and phone number, you should go right over after that, after you make sure that they have their home value and they got it in their email, so it didn't go in spam, you should actually go over to listings. If it's a good listing you want, and you should create a custom listing presentation, how we were talking about. Now you've given them home value. Maybe you've asked them a couple questions, and now you create a custom listing presentation that looks like this. And say, by the way, if you're thinking of selling, this is how I sell homes. Now, this is the generic one, but you can actually create this for just a straight up listing presentation that doesn't say expired, right? You can create these in your account in just a couple minutes, and you text this to them, right? And that's going to get, they're thinking of selling and you do it. That's pretty good. Okay. That's like, you are well along your way of getting a conversation going, right? Does that make sense? Because now you capture their name, phone number, and email from your app. Whatever kind of ad you ran on Facebook, you got their address in case they didn't come in with the lead. You get a couple hours, or maybe you wait a couple days, you create this and you say, by the way, now that you have your home value, if you are thinking of selling, here's what your home would look like in my market. This is what I do, right? So I am totally the Facebook ads because I can tell you this here is telling you he converted one $4 lead into a listing for $400,000 in a sale. But what he is not telling us is every one of his leads is doing that, right? And that's the thing. Like, you're not going to convert all of these Facebook leads. But what I just shown you and that process will help you convert more of them. So definitely leverage our listing presentation. And, the cheap, easy way of getting sell leads with name, email, and phone numbers, Facebook, leverage that. And then use this to kind of close that, right? So let's go back to this, because this is where we're going to get into deeper farming. Okay. If you've got a town Like what's the number one town where you guys are? Like where was it? Do you text them through LL? No, you do it through your phone, Patrick. You send that tool, whatever tool you want to send them, send it to yourself in an email, open it up. And hopefully this year we can figure out how to do that direct text. We're doing a major technology put, I think this week things. So let's talk about farming, right? And this gives a little bit longer play because, right, if we talk about farming, you got to assume what is farming. You're planting seeds and waiting to harvest that, right? That's a slower process than knocking on a door, right? Or calling and texting people. It's slower. You're mailing, you're hoping that they opened it. Maybe you got to mail them 6 times before they even open something that that you sent them, right? Long play. But it is important if you have neighborhoods where you want to build out. You might live in a town or a development where you want to own that place, right? You don't want other realtors doing business there, right? You might be moving. You might have moved from one state to another. Nobody knows you. How do you farm? How do you build out a community? This is a Walnut Creek landing page, instant home value for homeowners in Walnut Creek. How do I farm? Click marketing tools, and it's all right here. So let's wait for it to bake and then I'll answer the question. Facebook ads, Google ads, email, and maybe some postcards and nearby homeowner letters, right? So the answer of how do you farm is social media, free social media, paid ads, email, and print. Does that make sense? It's all right here. And you can actually see it anytime you click a PDF guide or here, it's really designed for you already. It's already there. So now you got to think of, well, I got print tools. So who do I mail? Right? I got email tools, all kinds of email tools. Where do I get that list? Who am I doing this to? Right? Facebook, right? Same thing. Let me describe something here for you. I'm going to create not a traffic ad, a lead ad for my Walnut Creek home value, right? And you probably don't live over here. So this picture is of the mall. So I'm going to customize this. What is your Walnut Creek home worth now? It's going to be sponsored by your business page. You won't say Walnut Creek. That's what business page is, right? But this up here says Walnut Creek. This down here says Walnut Creek. And this is the mall, like this amazing mall, Walnut Creek gets 6 million people a year here. And that's the fountain where there's like music and people hang out. So this is good. What should I do? I should type in Walnut Creek. That would make sense, right? Walnut Creek, California. And boom, create ad. I would get leads for probably on average $7 each. Divide 7 into 50. I'd expect 7 leads with name, email, and phone number. Okay. But there's actually a problem here. And this is the solution to this problem is really going to help you with farming. So we'll get to it. But let me explain to you why that ad could be another way of wasting my money. And that is because whenever you run an ad on Facebook, they always tell you minimum 15-mile radius. Okay. And I don't know where each of you are, like what cities you're in, but if you're in a dense cosmopolitan kind of area, some parts of the coast, East Coast, Florida, New England, California, maybe not so much in Oregon and Washington, but there, dense areas, what I mean is, and in Walnut Creek, this is super true, right? So we'll get a Google map here in a second. People in. Okay. So it's not really a big town, but around it, like Concord's over here, Pleasant Hills here, Lafayette is down here, Alamo, we're looking at the map kind of populate, but it right where my mouse is spinning, that's Walnut Creek, kind of goes back here. But a 15-mile radius is kind of like this. And I can tell you, while I'm trying to hit 33,000 people, there are actually 1 million people in a 15-mile radius. So my ad is not going to work very well. And a lot of agents try this. They don't even create results. And a part of it is they didn't customize that ad to even speak to the market that they're looking at. And secondly, they maybe just don't even have, they're targeting all over like where I am, right? So let's talk about what they should do. And what they should do is develop a real marketing plan. And I'm going to show this to you because when we talk about expireds, the key is what you should be doing is reaching out to expireds 3 months after they expired, not day one, because those poor people are getting called by hundreds or dozens of agents, right? And our clients who are getting on our expired program are signing up for this. Now we actually have a special deal with MyPlusLeads, so go watch our calls to understand what that is. But our clients are also this pro program. They can get a list of every homeowner in Walnut Creek or any city in the United States of homeowners that have owned a home for more than 5 years. Okay. Is the beginning of farming. Now, that they have owned a home, they've had it for a while, and maybe, those are the people that you want to target. You don't want to target everybody. Get that list from MyPlusLeads. You're going to have name, email, and phone number, right? To market, right? And because if I click, let's say I want to get this landing page out, right? And we know that we can run an ad and just sort of blast it all over 15 miles around Walnut Creek, and that's not going to do us a lot of good. So let's go back and do it again and try. So first of all, before we go back and talk about that, let's talk about this. We know we have postcards and door hangers, and we know that the QR codes, how do we mail that to them, right? Well, now if you have that list, if you have this company here, Express Copy, or you have your own, you might have your own printer. You say, hey, take this list. I just bought it from these guys. These are the homeowners that I want to target. So would you take my postcard and drive it over? I got a lot of tabs open here, so bear with me a second. And mail it to those people. You can download it here, but Express Copy will do it for you. I have an account with Express Copy. That's why I have this green button. And they actually, you don't even have to buy the list for them. They actually have their own list, but you can say mail to my list. And they will download that and mail it to the people on your list. Pretty easy, right? And, you might want to do that. You definitely want to mail something to that marketing list at least once a month or once a quarter, right? And you should take that same list and upload it in your CRM or in your Constant Contact or MailChimp. And every week, email them one of our tools. There's a tool on every one of your PDF guides. There's a tool on every landing page. You copy the content here and you blast it out on your CRM. So you bought that list. Now you're able to mail to them and email to this list. And when you purchased it, that is a list of homeowners. But what else can you do? And this is actually incredibly valuable. There's something called a custom audience in Facebook. And what that means is you can create a list of people inside your Facebook ad account, and you can say, hey, I want to target those people on that list. And that the list that you bought was a list of people who own homes. right? So if I call that list Walnut Creek homeowners, and that list has to be minimum 1,000 leads long, 1,000 names, and maximum 10,000 names, the spreadsheet has to look like this with those headers, those columns, and nothing more. I would recommend saving it in a CSV. It works in Excel, just not as good. And you upload it and import it, and that custom audience will live in your Facebook account forever until you delete it. So that when you're trying to farm and target those homeowners, you can now target them with landing pages, with PDF guides, with your sold ads, maybe your open house ad if you want to, just to let them know, like, hey, I'm doing it. Okay, so here's a question. How do you check to see if an expired listing has delisted by the 30th or relisted? Yeah, relisted. Yeah. They won't tell you that, Patrick. MyPlusLeads won't tell you. You'll have to take that and kind of go back to your MLS and see if they're listed. Yeah. I think that's the answer. I don't know if there's a better answer to that, but I think they just tell you it's not listed. So most agents will go out and do that. So let's go over here to downsizing, right? Here's one of the PDF guides. There are, as I said, there's 40 for sellers. And this again is it's the shortcut answer to how do I farm? I run ads on Facebook. And now you know that you can actually target a custom audience. And so let's see how we do that. So I'm going to do a Facebook ad on downsizing for homeowners. And I'm going to use lead ads because I like name, email, and phone number. And instead of typing in Walnut Creek, I'm going to click retarget and type in Walnut Creek homeowners here. And this ad will now only show up to the people on that list, assuming they're on Facebook in that 7-day period. Okay. Google does not have that functionality, but you can run ads there. You can also share this for free on your social media accounts, no cost there. I don't see a lot of leads happening that way, but we can do it. But if you got that list because you bought it from whatever company, MyPlusLeads has it, right? And I'll tell you something. It's kind of a pro tip. But now you can take whatever list you've got and mail this by copying here, and that's going to be the signature, and that's the signature there, and that's going to help you capture leads. And then take the mailing and mail out print flyers or mail out print cards, postcards, or door hangers. So first of all, I want to say thank you. I want to tell you one thing. If you're not using MyPlusLeads and you don't have a resource for either FSBOs or expireds, and if you don't have a list of, homeowners, this I think is it's a very good link to use. But I'm not sure if we're getting any kind of kickback or anything here, but that's really not why I'm telling you this. Because if you go to MyPlusLeads and you sign up for a free trial, they will give you 30 days back. So if you sign up today and you just go to their website and you do that, they're going to give you 30 days of expireds, right? If you look at our home page, you will learn that you actually want to wait 3 months. A lot of realtors know this already, right? But with a normal trial, you don't get that. But if you sign up with this link, and I think I sent it to everybody, but I'll send it to you again. If you sign up with this link and then you email them and you say, hey, we're working with listings to leads, and we hear that we can get 6 months back expired data, they will give it to you. And you should start at the 3-month period and go backwards and then start working on those 2 months that turn into 3 months, right? I'm going to kind of repeat myself here since we're ending. First of all, I want to say thank you for being here. Fired marketing and open house marketing, you're much closer. You're going to meet people very quickly. When you run an ad, or if you do an email to a bunch of people who you've never met, this video will be posted to YouTube, Mark. And I sent that link to everybody earlier, but I'll send it to you again. This call, and every one of the calls that I do, and as well as one that Scott's does, they're all on this page. Okay. So back to my point, expired's you're going to meet people. Open houses, you're going to meet people, right? Get your open house toolkit just ready. Order some of these. Oh, I forgot to send you something. I'm gonna send you some. Get some of these in your hand and have them at your open houses. So when homeowners come through, I'm gonna send you one more thing, everybody. Sorry. What are booklets here? I think this one. Yeah. So this, I'm gonna send you this link. This page it's where you go if you want to order our booklets. And this is the setup. And the setup is about $70. And what the setup involves is that you're saying, hey, I want expired setup, or I want a standard setup, or I want canceled. If you're working expired, definitely recommend having the expired one because it says, how do we get your expired homes? But if you're working like FSBOs or canceled or just standard, like you're doing an open house and you want some, I would just say, just get the standard, right? Again, it's a $70 setup. And once it's set up, well, now you can order 10 or 20 or 30 or 40, right? Of expireds or standards or whatever. I think they're about $10 each. But I mean, we're not doing this, honestly. It's getting printed through my mailbox power. It's not like we're making, any real money on that. It's probably, it's a little more challenging than you can imagine to get all these things out. But you want those physically in your hand because the quality of this, and we've got clients who have their own thermal binders. You can buy them on Amazon. This is a high quality deal. If you give this to somebody, if you door knock it and you leave it on an expired, or if you door knock and leave it on a FSBO, this is not getting thrown away. Okay. This is like well branded and it is high quality. Worth it for you, I think, to have this in your hand. It's worth it at an open house. It's definitely worth it. That's what people are just crushing it with expired. We don't hear a lot of stories about FSBOs, but we certainly do hear stories about FSBOs. There's just not as many FSBOs in the market as expireds. Okay. If you're not a client, you can sign up at the bottom of our website. Everything we do is month to month. I don't know what prices are here. If you need a team account, that's my phone number right there. You can email me at Vince@ListingsToLeads. I set up the brokerages and, the team accounts around the country. We got a fantastic support team. And as you already know, we've got live training and our recorded trainings on our YouTube channel. Learn how to use our platform. It'll help your business grow. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a great week. Are there any other questions? I don't see any. All right. Take it easy, everybody. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.